Hi, it's Nadia. Welcome to a whole new Keto Shortbread 101 series. 7 topics are covered in this series. First, I studied the traditional recipe, especially the classic Scottish shortbread recipe, and modify it into keto-friendly version, not using wheat flour, starch, or any added sugar. As a result, find my own golden ratio of keto shortbread recipe, knowing how to mimic or alter the original recipe to get similar results in keto version. Also, explore options for more flavor or getting fancier. This recipe becomes the basic keto cookie dough in my household. With the golden ratio, we can play it, tweak it, and create our own favorite version of keto shortbread cookies. Further, I also want to share benefits to my keto diet, why I like this keto shortbread so much, and how it makes my keto meal prep and my keto diet easier. Moreover, its extended applications, turning into either sweet or savory pie crust. And finally, share my favorite recipes and demonstrations. Topic 1 to 5 will be addressed in this video. The rest will be shared in others. Please check the description box. Now let's get started with the origin of shortbread cookies. Traditionally, shortbread was dated back to medieval time biscuit bread. Biscuit means twice baked, twice cooked. With multiple times baking, the bread shape becomes shorter, smaller. Soft texture of the bread becomes crumbly or even crispier. Gradually, the yeast in the bread is no longer needed, and it was replaced by butter. Biscuit bread became shortbread, having its very distinguishing buttery flavor and crumbly texture. A leftover bread makes its own name. Also, with French influence brought from Mary, Queen of Scots, it has been a very popular souvenir from Scotland. Shortbread has several distinguishing features worth to be mentioned. First, it has no egg. Second, it has no leavening agent, such as baking powder or baking soda. And third, it has high portion of butter, which is good for keto. I like baking, and I found it's very fascinating and challenging in keto baking. From traditional to gluten-free baking, we take out wheat flour. From gluten-free to keto baking, we take out starch and sugar. How can we make it low-carb, gluten-free, keto-friendly? Let's start this journey with the traditional recipe. Traditional Scottish shortbread recipe is pretty simple and straightforward. It only has 3 ingredients. In weight measurement, we need 1 part of sugar, 2 parts of butter, and 3 parts of flour. And of course, it's always nice to have a pinch of salt to balance the sweetness. So the recipes look like 50 grams of sugar, 100 grams of butter, and 150 grams of flour, or 2 ounces of sugar, 4 ounces of butter, and 6 ounces of flour. In time, people added rice flour or cornstarch to make it soften, or even semolina flour to make it slightly crunchier. From a ketogenic diet point of view, a dish contains high portion of fat is great. However, sugar and flour are both big no-no. So, sugar is replaced by natural sweetener such as erythritol, stevia, monk fruit, or its blending. I found sugar is relatively easy to be substituted. Baking with very little sweetener or even without any, it works perfectly for my taste buds. What I found tricky and most challenging is the flour part in keto baking. Wheat and other grain flours are not suggested, since they have a lot of starch, carbohydrate. Wheat flour contains a protein called gluten, which importantly forms the main structure of any traditional baking good. But in food trend, more and more people go gluten-free. So nut flour and other powder forms of plants, vegetables, or fruits are considered. Most commonly, we have almond flour replace wheat flour, and I use erythritol to replace sugar. Let's stay with the same ratio to see the recipe. 1 part of erythritol, 2 parts of butter, and 3 parts of almond flour, and with a pinch of salt as usual. The result is not good from my testing. I found several obstacles to overcome in the flour part. First, it's too oily. Naturally, almond flour has higher portion of fat than traditional wheat flour. Second, it's super crumble and broken into crumbs easily, not in a good cookie shape. I have to refrigerate it after baking, and I'm not always enjoy a refrigerated and cold shortbread cookies. Further, it's not easy to take with you on the go. So we need 2 things. Mix other flours, such as any starch-free, gluten-free, low-carb flours, and also a binding agent to actually form a keto shortbread cookie dough. So the recipe becomes 1 part of erythritol, 2 parts of butter, 3 parts of almond flour, X parts of other gluten-free, starch-free, low-carb flours, and Y parts of binding agent. I'll add at least 2 different low-carb flours and 1 binding agent, together with almond flour to make the perfect keto shortbread flour. As a result, I find my own golden ratio of keto shortbread recipe. Originally, if we set the weight of this keto flour as 100%, then erythritol is 33%, butter is 66%. About the flour, I start to play the percentage use of almond flour with other different flours, such as oat fiber, protein powder, milk powder, coconut flour, and soy flour. I found I liked the adding of oat fiber, protein powder, and milk powder the best. With these addings, ingredient portion are changed from 1 to 2 to 3 to 1 to 2 to 4. As a result, my golden ratio of the keto Scottish shortbread recipe is more tangible. 25% erythritol, 50% butter, and 100% keto flour, including 75% almond flour, 12.5% oat fiber, and 12.5% protein powder or milk powder. Adding 0.5% xanthan gum as the binding agent. Adding 0.5% sea salt to have all the ingredients balanced. And optional, adding 2.5% vanilla extra to boost the buttery flavor. Also optional, adding few drops of liquid stevia to remove the cooling aftertaste of erythritol. If we want to have our keto shortbread cookies get more flavor or even get fancier, it's always fun and rewarding to add other ingredients. For instance, adding 1 to 5% of spice and herb-related ingredients, such as cinnamon, turmeric, or even garlic, onion grounds, if we want to go savory. Adding 1 to 20% of powder form ingredients, such as cocoa powder, matcha powder, tea leaf grounds, coffee grounds, and etc. Adding 10 to 50% of particle form ingredients, such as dry fruits, nuts, chocolate chips, and etc. I'm very happy with these findings. With the golden ratio of all these necessary ingredients and add-on ingredients, we can create our own recipe of keto shortbread cookies easily. Next, I'm going to talk about why I like this keto shortbread so much and how it makes my keto meal prep and my keto diet easier. There are 5 benefits I found. First, it's simply delicious. Really tastes like traditional Scottish shortbread. It's high fat, very keto friendly. I consume it to get more fat in my diet. It's easy to prepare. The recipe is simple with unlimited baking potentials. Just a mixing bowl and a spatula needed. A large batch can be made and stored up to a whole year. Ingredients are not hard to find if you had already adopted into gluten-free, low-carb, or ketogenic diet lifestyle. It's grab and go. Just put these keto shortbread cookies into a bag or a box. You are good to go, especially at work or in places which have no keto menu options. You don't have to starve or risk breaking ketosis. It's guilty-free. This is a delicious cookie, a snack, foundation of a special side dish, a keto dessert. It can ease our cravings for something sweet. Replace our beloved traditional desserts. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope these results of my research, testing, adjusting, experiences, findings, and summaries will benefit your keto meal prep, keto diet, and your keto baking. Recipes and demonstrations are linked in the description box. And as always, you are really cherished and blessed. Thank you for your watching and considering to subscribe. I'll see you next time. Take care.